If you don't know already, there's already been a lot of stuff talking about Saquon Barkley, how we didn't reach a contract, the Giants didn't get him on a contract, and there's talks of him holding out. Apparently, he's not afraid to sit out the season, he's not afraid to sit out games, all these different things, and I don't think that's going to happen. But if this was to happen, what are the Giants going to do? What is their pivot? Their pivot might already be on the roster, and they already planned for this ahead of time. They drafted running back out of Oklahoma, Eric Gray. Now, I've been planning to make a video on him already, and with this video coming out now about Saquon Barkley and all these different antics and different things that are going on, it's perfectly placed for Eric Gray to come in and step into an assuming role. Now, this is a lot for a running back, especially a rookie running back. When you're going to be compared to Saquon Barkley and you have to assume his role, it's going to be tough on you. But I think if you look around the National Football League and you look around all the teams that are pretty good in the NFL, they have a running back by committee approach. Not everybody has a featured back. Not everybody has a top 5 running back in this league. And the Giants might be transitioning to that very shortly, man. Eric Gray coming out of Oklahoma is around 5'10", a little over 200 pounds. He doesn't have the same physical traits as Saquon Barkley, which honestly, not a lot of the people in this league do anyways. But Eric Gray is a stout running back that he's more of a running back that's going to hit between the tackles and really make you feel him. He's not ultimately the bruiser back, but he definitely features himself mainly between the tackles, and he just knows how to run the football. Last season he did burst onto the scene for Oklahoma, putting up over 1,300 yards on the ground and over 300 yards receiving, which is not bad. One thing about Eric Gray, he is already a little bit up there in age when it comes to a rookie. And when I say up there, he's not old. Eric Gray is 23 going on 24 years of age. So when you put that in comparison, Saquon's about to be playing in his 6th season and he's 26 going on 27. So Eric Gray is not a young rookie coming into the league that, his ceiling's going to be way up and it might take a couple years to develop. But that might be a good thing for the Giants. You know why? It's because he might be a little bit more matured and a little bit more, at the end of the day, he knows his running style and he knows how he's going to play in this league. The one thing that we have to see is him playing in the National Football League, because we all know that college compared to the NFL, 2 different game speeds. A lot better athletes on the defensive side of the ball when it comes to the NFL. So we're going to see how he ultimately matches up. But one thing you can key on with Eric Gray is his elusiveness. Not the same elusiveness as a Wan'Dale Robinson, but he has like a one-cut type of feel with him. Eric Gray is very shifty and elusive in that sense. You see him a lot of times when you look at his highlights, you'll see him making a couple moves and making multiple guys miss, and it doesn't normally take one guy to bring him down. If he's coming into the hole and there's one guy in the hole, he'll make you miss. Kind of what we look at when we look at Saquon Barkley. A lot of people know that Saquon Barkley isn't a guy that's going to run through you. He'll run around you and juke around you, but Eric Gray has some of those same traits, and I think, the only thing that Eric Gray is really missing is the top end speed. You're not going to see him break for 100 yards. You're not going to see him break for an 80-yard rush, but you will see him make a couple guys miss, and that's exactly what the Giants need in this offense. Going back to the end of last season, you can clearly see that the Giants were not trying to rely on Saquon Barkley solely like they were in a couple of games this season. I think you think back to it when you look at a game like the Texans where they gave him over 30 carries. Don't let the 30 carries fool you. It was not a good game running the ball. I think Saquon was averaging less than 3 yards per carry in that game. 30 carries, but it wasn't a productive 30 carries. So I definitely think towards the end of the season, you really saw what this offense is trying to be, especially when you have more weapons on the outside that Daniel Jones can throw to, which going into the season, right, we're going to have Jalen Hyatt, we're going to have Paris Campbell, we're going to have Wan'Dale Robinson back, hopefully, Darius Slayton, and as well as Darren Waller. Darren Waller is going to be a huge piece on this offense, and I definitely think the Giants want to air out the ball a lot more. Last season, they kind of had to do what they had to do with Saquon Barkley being the only featured playmaker on this team at that point in time. But towards the end of the season, you saw it was less carries to Saquon. You saw Daniel Jones running it a little bit more, and you saw them throwing the ball a lot more. So who's to say that Eric Gray can't step into this role and actually be pretty well in that role when you're getting 10 to 12 carries a game and not 20 to 25? 20 to 25, I think, isn't substantial and it's not sustainable anymore, especially when you're running your running backs into the dirt anyways. And we look at these other teams like the Bills, when you look at them like the Chiefs, and I know I'm naming the top teams in this league, they don't have a guy that's taking 25 carries every single game. And ultimately, they're still winning games playing this way. So I definitely think that the Giants and Daboll coming from Buffalo wants to have that same type of approach. Mike Kafka coming from Kansas City wants to have that same type of approach. Don't get it twisted though. Eric Gray could definitely tote the rock. I definitely think he can take about 10 to 12 to 15 carries a game, and you'll also see him catch a couple of swing passes, screens, and you can see him do damage on that side as well. Eric Gray coming into the draft was a top 5 running back in this draft. He was taken in the 5th round by the Giants, so he definitely did slip a bit, but people were touting him as a top 5 running back and probably could be taken in the first 100 picks. and instead he was taken in the 5th round, which I'm not complaining about because I think he could be really productive, especially for our system. At the end of the day, Joe Schoen, he's drafting these players now. You know, we do have a lot of players that are still drafted from the old regime. I don't need to say their names, but Joe Schoen is drafting the guys that he like and the guys that he feels like is going to fit this team in the future. So taking Eric Gray, he definitely sees something with him, whether he's the backup running back or maybe one day could even take the starting role. I definitely want to put all my chips against Eric Gray coming into it. And once again, we talk about this a lot. We talk about how the Giants beat the Vikings. Yes, they ended up playing that playoff game against the Eagles and they got whooped. But one thing that you can say in that game is I think that's what you picture to be the perfect offense for the New York Giants. Daniel Jones completely taking over the game, throwing the ball, running the ball. But something that we forget, Saquon Barkley had a really good game. Did you know that he had less carries than Daniel Jones? And if you did know, did you know that it was less than 10 carries? In that Vikings playoff win, Saquon Barkley had 9 carries for 53 yards. Only 9 carries. I'll tell you what, every single touch that Saquon Barkley had was important. He played well in those featured roles. He didn't need to get the ball 30 times. You didn't need to see him have the ball 30 times for him to do his damage. He also had 5 receptions to go along with it. So Saquon had less than 15 touches in this game, and they were all meaningful and impactful. So who's to tell me that Eric Gray can't step into the same type of role and have the same type of production? Not everyone's Saquon Barkley. I'm not saying Eric Gray is going to be Saquon Barkley, but we don't need a running back that's going to take 30 carries. That's not going to happen anymore. That's definitely what the Giants don't want to do. And I think this upcoming season, you'll see a couple different changes in this offense, and Eric Gray might be a good change of pace ultimately. When you have Matt Breida, you have Eric Gray, you know, a lot of speedsters on this team, but you also have guys that can make guys miss, and Eric Gray's going to step into the position. I think he could do well. You know, we definitely have to temper the expectations a little bit, but in terms of being with or without Saquon Barkley, I think this offense is definitely trending in a direction where we don't have to rely on a running back 24/7. Y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments, man. I know a lot of people are really split on the Saquon Barkley, Daniel Jones, New York Giants situation because people are blaming Daniel Jones for some reason. People are blaming Saquon Barkley, which rightfully so you can. And people are going to blame the Giants because they felt like they should have paid our guy. But right now, there's nothing we can really do about it. The only thing we can do about it is look forward. And ultimately, do I think Saquon Barkley is going to miss any playing time? No. Besides injury, and hopefully he doesn't get injured, I don't think he's missing any playing time and holding out for any type of reason. But if it does happen, I definitely think the Giants have their plans, and they're still going to move forward with those plans with or without Saquon Barkley. The writing's on the wall. We know what it's going to be in a couple of years down, and like I said, I already made a video where I said Saquon Barkley, this might be his last season. So we'll see what happens, man. Y'all subscribe down below, like the video as well. If you haven't seen my other ones, I got more videos to the left, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.
Hold, there he goes to the 10.